Medical professionals of Reddit, have you ever had a patient so lacking in common sense you wondered how they made it this far? If so, what is your story? I'm a pharmacist. One evening shift I was working a relief shift, not my usual pharmacy. A man comes in looking distressed. Man, I had sexual relations with a woman I do not intend to pursue a long-term relationship with. Yes. He said it just like that. Okay. I'm assuming there was an accident or it was unprotected. How long ago did it happen? Man, last night, at 7 p.m. on the couch. Whoa TMI, I just need to know approximate time to know if Plan B will work. Oh me, we have this medication called Plan B, and since the incident happened within 72 hours. Man, oh yes, I got that for her already yesterday right after we finished. We want to know if there is anything we can do to know if she is pregnant now. Me, unfortunately not. She'll have to wait 3 weeks or so to see if she gets her period, and if she doesn't then she can do a pregnancy test then. Theoretically you could do a blood test for faster results, but that would also not be until a couple of weeks, at least. Man, we're just really anxious because she really doesn't want to be pregnant. Is there anything that she can take to prevent the pregnancy? Any multivitamin? Minerals? Food? Me, she's already taken it, which was the Plan B. There are some other options but those are prescriptions. And no, there are no over-the-counter products she can take. Man, what about me? Is there anything I can take now to prevent the pregnancy? Any multivitamins or minerals? Me : No sir. There isn't anything you can take now. Wow, this story is why we need to keep sex ed in schools. Also, you have access to the internet. Why would you put yourself through the embarrassment of having this conversation? I work in home health. At my last job, I had a lady call saying she was returning my call specifically. I don't recall her at all, and when I check for anything on her, it shows we have never received a referral or anything for her. Which I tell her. She gets mad and starts screaming at me, won't let me get a word in to tell her to call the discharge planner at the hospital. Like a good 8 minutes of her screaming at me, calling me heartless, and idiot, you name it. Whatever, it's slow and these calls are usually good for a laugh. She takes a breath. I say, ma'am, I'm not sure who called you, especially since we haven't heard of you before now. She interrupts with, no, it was definitely you. You said your name was Shelaton and you were calling from Advanced Home Health. Ah, we have detected the problem. I tell her I see what's going on, you accidentally called Ambercare Home Health, let me get you Advanced's number. Then she says I have it. They didn't pick up the phone, so I called you guys. I was not expecting that one. A fun fact most people don't know is that all medical companies are actually just one big company. They don't like to admit it, but if you are mean enough to the people answering the phones it doesn't matter what number you call. All jokes aside, the cluelessness and entitlement some people have blows my mind. I couldn't imagine knowingly calling the wrong number and then getting mad that they cannot help me. I'm a vet. A few years ago I had a client bring his young cat in complaining of lethargy. Besides being a bit underweight, the physical exam was unremarkable, so I asked more questions about the cat's diet. Me, what do you feed the cat? Owner, online trendy raw food brand. Me, how is his appetite? Does he finish what you feed him? Owner, yes, he always eats everything. Me, how much do you feed him? Owner, half cup. Me, once or twice daily? Owner, once every 3 or 4 days. Me, you only feed your cat twice a week? Owner, I believe in a more natural feeding approach, and based on my research that's how often cats eat in the wild. This owner was slowly starving his cat to death based on some cockamamie idea he'd made up watching National Geographic. I had to explain to him that domestic cats are not tigers, and that small wild cats eat 10 to 20 small meals daily. Surprise surprise, the cat's lethargy and weight improved with regular feeding. This one makes me a bit mad. How does anyone think 1 cup of food a week is enough for an average-sized cat? Also, why do some people think that they know better than vets? They went to school for this, they likely know what they are talking about. EMS here. Had a diabetic in his 30s or 40s who refused to take insulin since 2012, it was 2020 at the time. When I took his blood sugar it only read as high, meaning it was over 700 for a glucometer to not read it. Upon seeing this, he asked me if that was high and then, when is this because of all the ice cream I ate? Played a Facebook Messenger video with his girlfriend the entire time. Met him later in the parking lot after he got discharged, and it took this man less than 50 paces from the ER door to rip off his bandage covering his 4 and play with the 4th wound until it started bleeding all over the place again. Knocked on our ambulance door and asked for a band-aid to fix it. We had to walk him back into the ER and bandaged his entire arm with gauze so that, hopefully, by the time he got it off it would have clotted enough for him to not end up exsanguinating himself. Honestly, how some people make it through life amazes me. I don't even have any words for this one. On to the next story. I overheard a conversation between a nurse and a doctor and a patient in the ER. They were trying to figure out if he was very stupid or had a head injury. It was both hilarious and sad. He kept telling them that he was there for a hurt leg. He couldn't explain why his leg was hurt, how it was hurt, how he got there. Nearly anything. I heard them talking in a hallway to each other. The nurse was convinced he hit his head. The doctor said no, he is just an idiot. Turns out the doctor was right. They get a hold of the guy's wife. She basically told them in the hallway he is always this dumb and if she leaves him he would get lost in his own house and starve. Edit, it sounded like his leg was visibly injured or swollen. But when asked what happened or how does it feel he gave nonsensical idiot answers. Not like slurring but in a regular idiot voice. If feels hurt, I was talking to Jimmy and we were doing our usual work and my leg hurt. Doc, did something happen? What is the work? Him, something always happens, you know how it goes. I just want my leg fixed. Come on, just fix the man's leg already and make sure to give him a lollipop on his way out. Also, how patient is this guy's wife? I could not imagine being married to someone like that. Before we go to the next story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment saying you subscribed and we will do our best to reply to your comment. Not me, but my sibling. I don't think he'd mind me sharing the story just on the off chance it prevents someone else from making this mistake. Lots of surgeons have a similar story, but thankfully this one doesn't end in someone's death. Parents claim their child hasn't eaten anything before surgery, as they were carefully directed. Turns out they thought the surgical team was just being cruel to their child, and when she said she was hungry that morning, they detoured on their way to the surgical center and got her a full Southern breakfast. She damn near died aspirating biscuits and gravy. I've rarely seen my brother so angry and disgusted. Somehow biscuits and gravy looks even more nauseating the second time around, and he was just recounting what had happened. I have no doubt he tore a strip off the parents once their 5-year-old was stabilized, and they probably still felt justified and angry at the surgeon for telling them what they could and could not feed their child right before anesthesia. ETA, the parents did in fact feel justified and hard done by, although as far as I know they didn't express anger at my brother. Knowing him, they didn't get a word in edgewise. Definitely no acknowledgement or realization that they could easily have killed their own child or that they'd made a bad decision. I remember they were annoyed by her whining for food. Again, if a medical professional tells you to do something you should probably listen to them. I can't imagine what losing a child just because you didn't listen to the doctor would be like. Working midnight in the ER. Family brings in a 4-year-old at 2 a.m. I ask them what is wrong. Them, ask him, the 4-year-old. He said he needed to see a doctor. Me, did he say anything was wrong? Them, no. He said he needed to see a doctor, so we brought him. A quick back and forth that firmly establishes that they actually showed up in the ER at 2 a.m., purely because the 4-year-old said he needed to see a doctor and they don't know why. Meet a child, why do you need to see a doctor? Kid, the doctor has suckers. Me, flushed face. To be clear, it is the parents who lack sense and not the kid. That kid is going places, maybe not places that don't have candy but places. Also, why would you blindly trust a 4-year-old enough to go to the ER at 2 in the morning? If you wake me up at 2 a.m. you better have a PowerPoint presentation ready if you want me to get out of bed. I am a dermatologist in India. As is the culture here, people eat with their hands, and almost all of our curries or even other dry side dishes have a lot of turmeric. It is common knowledge to anyone born and brought up in India, that this means the nails of your dominant hand, statistically the right hand, are going to be yellow stained, because we have seen this happen since our childhood. Usually this wears off in about a day and a half if you wash it a couple of times. Cut to the first patient in my OPD, a young girl in her early 20s, very anxious. Me, what brings you here today? Patient, doc, my right hand fingernails keep getting yellow discolored. Me, only right hand? Patient, yes. And only after meals. Me, do you eat with your hands? Patient, yes, always. Me, so, you know it's just turmeric, right? Patient, yes, but can you make it stop happening? Me, for God's sake, use a spoon. Patient, so you mean there is no medicine to make it stop? Me, patient, me, no. This might hit home more with people of South Asian cultures or people who habitually eat turmeric-cooked food with their hands. Anyway, for a grown-ass person to complain about this was just well surprising and a little ridiculous. This one really makes you wonder about some people. Also, how are these people not too embarrassed to ask these types of questions? We need to study these people and find out where they get their confidence from. My brother did a rotation in an ER before med school. Paramedics brought in a man with a lacerated neck. He was drunk and fell into a fish tank. His drunk buddies called 911. When the paramedics arrived, they realized his drunk friends had put a very tight tourniquet around his neck to stop the bleeding. Edit: I texted my brother to remind him about it. It happened almost 20 years ago. Apparently, it was worse than I remembered. The guy and his buddies were doing drunk WWE. He had a 2-inch glass shard stuck in his head. In addition to the neck laceration, dude came into the ER with no idea the glass was there. 4 different firefighters had to hold him down as he screamed sexist remarks at the female doctor. He said when they removed the glass, blood shot about 10 feet in the air. My brother at that point silently noped the hell out of medicine. He went on to attend Berklee Music School and is living his best life as a musical producer and engineer, and is not arguing with rednecks about whether or not there is a glass shard in their head. If this isn't a scene in a movie, it needs to be. I do feel for OP's brother. That would make me nope out of medicine too. Music producer seems like a much more relaxed job. Just got reminded of the time I got a highest priority call to someone who was actively choking. Rush to scene. Going through the protocols en route, plans for if we needed to perform CPR. Pull up. Rush in. Dude sat on the sofa, fully alert. Not choking. Ah, you've managed to clear it, great, me. No, I was still choking, they said with no hint of choking. Also, if your airway is occluded you can't speak. Story is, he'd been to a local carvery for lunch. Ate a big bit of beef that he felt was too big to swallow. But swallowed anyway. After a short while he felt it was still not fully descended to his stomach, so he drove himself home and called 999. I explained that it was a large bolus of food in his, for simpleton speak, food pipe, not his air pipe. He needed to drink water to wash down and next time either cut into smaller pieces, or not swallow. He had 2 young children and a third on its way. These people are allowed to vote, drive and reproduce. FML. How do these people make it through the day? Some days you read something that makes you feel well adjusted. Well, that's it for this video. Make sure to comment your favorite story in this video, and if you have one of your own I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching.